The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does require grounding for electrical systems. Grounding is a critical safety measure designed to protect individuals from electrical shock and to prevent damage to equipment. The purpose of grounding is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. This lower impedance path facilitates the rapid operation of overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers or fuses, which to energize the circuit and prevent dangerous conditions. There are several key aspects to understand about NEC grounding requirements. Firstly, grounding ensures that non-current carrying metal parts of electrical equipment, such as enclosures, raceways, and frames, are at or near ground potential. This minimizes the risk of electric shock if a fault occurs and these metal parts become energized. Secondly, grounding provides a stable reference point for voltage, reducing electrical noise and voltage fluctuations, which can improve the performance and reliability of sensitive electronic equipment. Thirdly, grounding assists in limiting voltage surges caused by lightning strikes or other transient events, protecting equipment from damage. The NEC addresses grounding in several articles, including Article 250, which is dedicated to grounding and bonding. This article outlines the general requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. It covers topics such as grounding electrode systems, equipment grounding conductors, and bonding of metal parts. Article 250.4 A1 specifies the general requirements for grounding of electrical systems. This section emphasizes that electrical systems that are grounded shall be connected to earth in a manner that will limit the voltage to ground on the electrical system. It also facilitates the operation of overcurrent protective devices in the event of a ground fault. Grounding electrode systems are a crucial component of any grounding arrangement. These systems provide a connection to the earth, ensuring that the electrical system is at ground potential. The NEC outlines several acceptable grounding electrodes. These are covered in NEC Article 250.52. They include metal underground water pipes, metal frames of buildings or structures, concrete encased electrodes, and ground rings. A metal underground water pipe is often used as a grounding electrode if it is in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet, approximately 3.0 meters, including any supplemental electrodes. The water pipe must also be electrically continuous. A metal frame of a building or structure can be used as a grounding electrode if it is effectively grounded. The concrete encased electrode, also known as a U for ground, consists of at least 20 feet, approximately 6.0 meters, of bare copper conductor encased in concrete. A ground ring consists of a bare copper conductor encircling the building or structure and buried directly in the earth at a depth of at least 2.5 feet, approximately 0.762 meters. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by NEC Table 250.66, which specifies the minimum size of the grounding electrode conductor based on the size of the service entrance conductor. For example, if the service entrance conductor is 4/0 American wire gauge copper, the minimum size of the grounding electrode conductor is 2 American wire gauge copper when connected to a ground rod or plate electrode. In addition to grounding electrodes, equipment grounding conductors play a critical role in providing a low impedance path for fault current. These conductors connect the non-current carrying metal parts of electrical equipment to the grounding electrode system. Equipment grounding conductors can be either wire type or metal raceways. Wire type equipment grounding conductors are typically green or green with a yellow stripe. They must be installed in the same raceway or cable as the circuit conductors. Metal raceways, such as electrical metallic tubing or EMT, rigid metal conduit or RMC, and flexible metal conduit or FMC, can also serve as equipment grounding conductors, provided they meet the requirements outlined in NEC Article 250.118. Bonding is another essential aspect of grounding. Bonding involves connecting all metal parts of the electrical system together to create a continuous electrical path. This minimizes voltage differences between metal parts, reducing the risk of electric shock. The NEC requires bonding of metal water pipes, gas pipes, and other metal parts that are likely to become energized. Bonding jumpers are used to connect these metal parts together. The size of the bonding jumper is determined by NEC Table 250.102, which specifies the minimum size of the bonding jumper based on the size of the circuit conductors. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are devices that protect against electric shock by monitoring the current balance in a circuit. If the current flowing through the hot conductor differs from the current returning through the neutral conductor by a small amount, typically 5 mA, the GFCI trips and energizes the circuit. GFCIs are required in locations where there is a high risk of electric shock, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. The NEC requires GFCIs for receptacles located in these areas. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or RFCIs, are devices that protect against fires caused by arcing faults. Arcing faults occur when electricity jumps between conductors, creating heat that can ignite nearby materials. RFCIs detect these arcing faults and energize the circuit, preventing fires. The NEC requires RFCIs for branch circuits that supply power to dwelling unit living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and other similar areas. Surge protective devices, or SPDs, protect electrical equipment from voltage surges caused by lightning strikes or other transient events. These devices divert the surge current to ground, preventing it from damaging sensitive electronic equipment. The NEC requires SPD in certain applications, such as for critical systems in hospitals and data centers. Grounding and bonding are also crucial in hazardous locations where flammable gases, vapors, or dust may be present. In these locations, it is essential to prevent sparks that could ignite the hazardous materials. The NEC outlines specific grounding and bonding requirements for hazardous locations in Article 500 through 516. These requirements include the use of intrinsically safe equipment, explosion-proof enclosures, and special grounding and bonding techniques. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding, which must be followed to comply with electrical codes and standards. It is important to consult the NEC and other relevant standards when designing and installing electrical systems. Improper grounding and bonding can create dangerous conditions, increasing the risk of electric shock and fire. Regular inspections and testing of grounding systems are essential to ensure that they are functioning properly. Ground resistance testing can be used to verify that the grounding system has a low impedance path to ground. Visual inspections can identify any loose connections or corroded components. Understanding and adhering to the NEC grounding requirements is vital for electrical professionals and anyone working with electrical systems. These regulations are in place to safeguard individuals and property from the hazards associated with electricity. Always consult with qualified professionals and reference the latest edition of the NEC for specific applications and interpretations. Electrical safety is a shared responsibility, and proper grounding practices are a cornerstone of ensuring a safe electrical environment. Furthermore, the NEC addresses the grounding of specific equipment and systems, providing detailed guidance on how to properly ground items such as generators, transformers, and sensitive electronic equipment. Generators, for example, must be grounded in accordance with NEC Article 250.34. This section outlines the requirements for grounding portable and vehicle-mounted generators, ensuring that they are safely grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards. Transformers also have specific grounding requirements, as detailed in NEC Article 450. These requirements vary depending on the type of transformer and the voltage level. Grounding transformers are used to provide a grounded neutral point in ungrounded systems, which can improve system performance and reduce the risk of overvoltages. Sensitive electronic equipment, such as computers and medical equipment, often require special grounding considerations to minimize electrical noise and ensure proper operation. The NEC addresses these considerations in Article 647 for sensitive electronic equipment. Isolated ground receptacles are often used in these applications to provide a dedicated grounding path that is separate from the building's normal grounding system. In addition to the specific requirements for equipment and systems, the NEC also addresses the grounding of various types of wiring methods. For example, metal-clad cable, or MC cable, must be grounded in accordance with NEC Article 330. This article outlines the requirements for grounding the metal sheath of NC cable, ensuring that it provides a low impedance path for fault current. Non-metallic sheath cable, or NN cable, also has specific grounding requirements, as detailed in NEC Article 334. While NN cable does not have a metal sheath, it must include an equipment grounding conductor that is connected to the grounding electrode system. Understanding the different types of grounding systems is also crucial for complying with the NEC. There are several common types of grounding systems, including solidly grounded systems, impedance grounded systems, and ungrounded systems. Solidly grounded systems have a direct connection between the neutral point of the transformer or generator and the grounding electrode system. This type of system provides a very low impedance path for fault current, which facilitates the rapid operation of overcurrent protective devices. Impedance grounded systems use a resistor or reactor to limit the amount of fault current that flows to ground. This type of system is often used in industrial applications where it is desirable to limit the magnitude of ground faults. Ungrounded systems do not have a direct connection to ground. While these systems can offer some advantages, they also have some disadvantages, such as the potential for overvoltages. The NEC does not generally permit ungrounded systems for premises wiring, except in certain specific situations. Proper documentation of grounding systems is also important for ensuring compliance with the NEC. Electrical drawings should clearly show the grounding electrode system, the equipment grounding conductors, and the bonding connections. Grounding system testing and inspection records should also be maintained to demonstrate that the system is functioning properly. Regular training and education on grounding and bonding are essential for electrical professionals. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and it is important to stay current with the latest requirements. There are many resources available to help electrical professionals learn about grounding and bonding, including training courses, seminars, and publications. Grounding and bonding are complex topics, and it is important to consult with qualified professionals and reference the latest edition of the NEC for specific applications and interpretations. Remember that electrical safety is paramount, and proper grounding practices are a cornerstone of ensuring a safe electrical environment. By understanding and adhering to the NEC grounding requirements, we can protect individuals and property from the hazards associated with electricity.